I talk
You're
fast.
you're fine. Just talk like Tim Phillips. That's what we want.
The
Hey there, everybody. It is Simply Felicity. Thank you for joining the show. I always appreciate so much support on the podcast. And, you know, one of the ways I really find my guests is just stalking on Facebook. Yes, you can actually be productive on Facebook. And I was productive one day. I saw a cool post and I went and bugged the person who made the post. And he said yes, that he would be on the show. And thus I bring you Tim Phillips, everyone. How are you, Tim?
I am one of the happiest people you'll meet today.
That's probably true. I have a house full of kids. They're not too crabby though. They're happy. But we'll see if we can top them in happiness. So what you do workshops based on like you help people with goal setting, weight loss, career things? Because you said you work in a corporate setting as well.
My gosh, I'm going to start. I'm going to start off with the God setting. We go with God, and then we move on from there.
I
Because
like
the
it.
Lord, the Lord is my Savior. Without Him, I don't even know if I'd be here talking to you. I would probably be out protesting because there's something I forgot to get when I was a kid or something.
Yeah, right.
But it
Me
all
too.
really started. I was 25 years old, 1995. Someone as smart as you shared the gospel with me.
Mm.
I didn't even know I was looking for leadership. And then, obviously it popped. 4 years later, everything I'm doing now became a vision.
Wow.
You're a teacher. Now, you're 4 years in your Christian walk with lots of weird Christians. I had no idea how to interpret it. And then, well, flash forward to today, it's like, wow, you are a teacher. So I'm stepped out of the corporate world, Motorola and all that fun stuff. And I have a cleaning company here in Chicago, kind of pays the bills. And then in between things, I sit down and have beautiful conversations like this on goal setting. And people ask, well, what is goal setting? It's the reality of understanding that you got a purpose in life, and how do you connect there from here? That's it.
That's
And
awesome.
it could be as all dreams given to us are not, are given to us by God. I mean, and if you really get down to it, Joseph had a dream, and so did Pharaoh.
Right.
And together they create a good kingdom. If you
Oh,
have some,
wow. That's really good. Wow. I've never thought about that. Two people with a dream
mhm.
always change the world. You know what I mean? When you can come together with somebody that your dreams are compatible and that you're willing to move forward. That was really good. I have to think on that. I have to think on that for an upcoming sermon or something. But what I gotta say, one of my favorite types of people to talk to are life coaches, and that's why I asked you if you were a life coach. I just assumed that you were. So I'm gonna
Very
introduce
shortly, that
him
could,
is a
yeah.
future life coach. There's no doubt about that. You can't be talking about goal setting and helping people with weight loss and all these other things, and that's like who you are on the inside for sure.
Well, someone walked me through it. Like I said, I use the phrase wiser than me, but then again, you and I walk through life and we say things smarter than us, you know?
Exactly.
It's like,
Oh, that's a really good description of a coach. We
yeah,
often say things smarter than us, like we know it didn't quite come from us,
mm,
right?
no, I mean, it's my voice, it's like, wow. Like the other day, I'm writing down, well, a true leader extracts the exceptional from the average. What the? I don't talk like that, Usually it's like, children, please come here or something, but it's like,
Oh man, Tim, you're giving away all the secrets. But I might as well let you guys know I don't walk around that wise all the time. It does just kind of come up. And you get used
no.
to it and you'd be like, yeah. But yeah, not really. It's not that way all the time. That's like super cool though. That it's really true that that happens. Wait, by the way, I don't know when you said communication or whatever, but speaking of which, you do have like a really good radio voice. Have you ever do you do
I
podcasts
started
with
one of my. This actually was paid for college. My true accent,
voiceover work?
my true accent. If you hang around me, you will float from I use the word ghetto. That's the right, inner city to country. I was raised in inner city, and I lived in the country, and then I went to school, and I sound like Tom Brokaw. So.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
and
pretty
you
cool.
are getting my broadcast voice, but on a long road trip, I'll be floating all over the place.
Very cool. I love that. So, um, it sounds like, I mean, anything that works, when you study success, you're going to have a lot of similarities. So, one of the things I tell people about goals, I want to float this past you, is a lot of people are very concerned about their discipline ability, that self-control and their ability to be disciplined, right?
Absolutely.
Especially when you're doing multiple things, right? If you're working toward a dream, but you've got something else going on, you feel like you want to have a lot of discipline to get yourself to do that stuff for your dream. And I found something I believe it's in Proverbs, and for a lack of vision, people perish. Right?
Well, this interview is over. Thanks for playing along.
I know, right? That's the whole thing.
And that's for
That's
both of
how
you
I
and I,
talk
yeah.
about it. Well, a translation of that says, for a lack of vision, people cast off restraint. I believe a lot of people don't have a discipline problem, they have a vision problem. Because the clearer that you can get that vision, and the reason that I recommend coaching everyone is because you can hear the things I say, and sometimes it's a little more to it to apply, but I'm going to give you some of the breakdown. So when I say make it more specific, a lot of times, like, people write these very specific, like, goals and things. So I want to sell this many widgets. I want to da 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 da. But unless numbers excite you, that's not what I'm talking about.
Well said. I agree.
I'm talking about, like, getting the vision crafted to the place where it excites you, because something God gave me was that a good way to understand the right way to spend time in your vision is like worry. Okay. So, like, if I said, I'm having these negative pictures, but they don't really bother me. Just sometimes I get a negative picture. I'm really worried. You would say, no, that's not worry. Worry is a negative picture with emotion. I mean, if that thing's not making you sick, you're not worried, right? I mean, that's not.
I'm following you. Yeah,
worry comes with the emotion. So when you have a vision, when you're envisioning something, it's got to excite you.
It takes my breath. My vision takes my breath away.
That's what it's got to be. You've got to get it to that point.
It scares me. To actually put some human emotional words behind it.
Emotion. It's got to be emotion. So those of you that are thinking,
I'm going to cry. You're making me think about it right now, because it's kind of you're drawing it out. You are a life coach, aren't you? I don't talk to life, but no, you're drawing it out right now.
Yeah. I told you this is a future life coach. So I'm giving it to you. And that's the thing. So coming from, like, being a single mom myself, I had a lot of shoulds in my mind of what I should have this kind of income, and I should have, and those goals were getting in the way of me creating a vision that was exciting. The exciting vision seemed irresponsible, because how am I going to make any money with that? And I've got these kids to take care of.
Oh,
but you have to push some space for you to actually get in the vision. Because you can't have all these, man, you have to do this and you have to do that. That's not a good way to craft a vision. That's a good way to get a headache.
Gosh, I could take that ball and, which yard do you want me to drop it at? I mean,
whatever comes to mind, go for it. Go for it.
For me, it wasn't as well, I got that vision when I was 28, blah blah. About hey, builder's workshop company, great. I only conversations I had back then was my locker. I kind of introduced myself as someone being a little criticism and condemning was a huge part of my childhood, to the point. Now, if you understand personalities, D's, C's, and I's, and so forth, there's a portion of there's a group of people whose what work you're doing is more important than the people you work with. And then the other side of the coin is the people you work with are more important than the work you're doing. I happen to be I'm working with Felicity today. What are we doing? We're baling hay? Great.
Whatever it is.
Whatever we're doing, we're standing, we're going to watch paint dry. Felicity, and the person I'm working with is more important. That's body of Christ. That's how it worked. And my whole household was duty. And then here I come along. it was so duty driven. And by the way, that's all I know. Nothing against my mom and dad, but you only teach with whatever books in front of you, and they didn't know those other books. They didn't. I weren't even looking for any books. But
No, it worked for everyone else in the family. It just
and
you were just the duty, not that kind of duty.
well,
You're like, oh no.
well, here's our dark spin brought to Christ. What would happen is I kept compromising myself. And I was at age 13. My dad split out of the house, and I kept compromising my personality up to the point where I can watch you and answer the way you need to be answered. But I was empty inside, so empty that the thoughts of suicide and the thoughts of deviant behavior, and like I said, the protest today, it's easy to program someone who's empty.
Wow.
Yeah, and
that's good.
And well, only by and when I, because I am talking about my testimony here. Other places I got to use different vocabulary not to, so I could draw them out like you drew me out. But I ran into some people who will help me accountable. In fact, I'm going to make a shout out. His name is Hal Barth, and he was just a gentleman, and he was a rich guy. And I'm a person who couldn't talk to his locker without being insulted. Okay, that's where I was. I was not bubbly. I had to kill myself to get along. I had to kill what God created to try and function. I got straight A's. I went into broadcasting to get over it even, and it didn't work until God walked in. I was going somewhere with this. Yes, it's so with all so basically there's where I am. So I just get a realization that I'm empty. Okay. 1995, here's the Lord, start walking. And once again, the only thing that helped me, and if anyone's listening here, find great mentorship. Not good, find great mentorship. Awesome mentorship. I don't want this person to tell you how great you are. I want this person to love you. Okay.
That's
all right.
good.
And I ran to people knowing there was my friend. I mean, in hindsight, but they were there. And within 4 or 5 years, there's one gentleman his name was Basil Wilfong, another important person in my life. And he told me something because he was so wise, such a mentor. He told me this, Felicity, and I love saying the story. You are okay. He didn't tell me I was great. I'm not, I'm not on the right hand of Christ. I'm not a joint heir to the throne, because emotionally, I would reject it if it was anything bigger than okay.
Wow, that's so good. That was really wise.
For him, I'm going to cry here too, because these are some men that real men, not mistakes with zippers. Real men. Told you, I'm gonna throw some more one-liners at you.
Oh my gosh.
I gotta laugh too. I'm not waiting for anybody else.
That's so powerful.
And so up until that time, I didn't have a why in my life. I had a what. I graduated from college, and I knew what I wanted. I wanted a car, I wanted a wife, I wanted a house, I wanted kids. And I was looking for something to give me what I had in my mind, a what. And I ended up working. I said, I worked for Motorola. I grew up in the ranks. My last job there was, I'll just say sales manager. The titles are, I don't even know. They change them all. It does the same job, solve the problem, But sales manager is what I left at. And I was fired. I should make it more accurately, the dot-com bomb, 2000. And so from there, I go up this beautiful, beautiful job. I even had a parking space with my name on it. And then I told everyone, this is my company. Well, I found out, whose company it was at the it's like, they even took my nameplate away. I mean, I was really insulted, but anyway. And that was the first time God and I had a conversation. It took 2 years. I mean, where I can hear him.
Right. Conversation means both are talking, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could lead silent prayer at the time. I'm 33, so I'm 50 now, but I was 33 years old. And the conversation was, go into carpet cleaning. Moses, go talk to Pharaoh, play cards. What do you mean going to carpet cleaning? I'm an engineer.
Wow.
What am I going to do with this? And just to keep that story short, 1 year later, I walked away from full-time employment.
Wow.
And the cleaning company, and 20 years ago, it's still paying me today, that initial work. And that was the first time, but it was only in the what category. When I moved to why was,
How did you move to why? I'm like on the edge of my seat now.
Everyone around me talked about why. And I'm like,
well, that helps.
It helped, but give it to me. Give it to me. Meditating. You mentioned how crazy things are at. And my well, I'll just say it. 4 years ago, the love of my life, whatever, she decided to date more people than me, and so
Okay,
moved on to bigger and better things. And through experience, through mentorship, I mean, when life goes to hell, I literally put your hand in heaven. And it was one day. Went to the cross because the first day I couldn't because my daughter was there, and I'm like, "What? This is actually happening." I went to the cross and said, okay, I'm out of my league. And okay, Tim, this is what you're going to do. Vision's now crystallized. And I'm just going to have a little bit of fun with you because I am sorry. But this is what came out of all of that hell. All of that hell.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's a real thing. A guy who knows numbers wrote this, you know. I'm sorry if I'm a little excited, but it's like, I like,
that's fantastic.
We did something together. And now the scary vision is talking in stadiums of 3,000. My mentor came to me and says, you got to prepare for a TED Talk. You see what I'm saying? And
absolutely.
That's Dr. Bob Lidka, another amazing individual.
Yeah. But I love this. So I just to review for those that are just chiming in, like some of the tidbits we've gotten are get great mentors, not good ones, great ones. And you know, I started accessing that. Like I didn't feel like I had people around me that I wanted to emulate exactly what they were doing. So one quick way to get a mentor is to read. You could just find all the books of a person that you're interested in emulating. And that pursuit, like it's a sow and reap situation. You sow that interest in that direction, and that will begin to come back to you. It's awesome because, you know, life definitely rewards those that will pursue. You do not have to feel like you're in a position just to wait and wait and wait.
Yeah, and how much does it reward? We didn't rehearse. How much does life reward? We didn't rehearse. What?
Ooh,
well, how much does life reward for pursuing?
No, 100-fold. What's your answer? We didn't rehearse. Thank you.
The Tim, go into carpet cleaning. Do as I say.
Yeah.
And you'll have 3 major customers, and you'll never have to work again. That's what God told me, to a guy whose ego was destroyed. By the way, a man loses his job. I'm glad to say this. I was destroyed because apparently I hit manhood. I wasn't a victim.
It's good.
10 years prior, I could have wrote a book on being I wish some losers would write some books. This is how you fail. But no, they don't.
Right.
I mean, capital V, victim. Poor me. Look what life did to me. My wife left me, and I don't have a job, but I got a God. And then I got Felicity's. I'm talking to Felicity right now. Here, I'm going to do a station break here. Do you mind?
Go for it. Was this going to be a commercial for Goal Getters?
No, it's a commercial. It's probably the reason why you and I are talking.
Okay.
I just casually listen to some of the stuff you put out there. Now YouTube's putting stuff that you've done in front of me, and I thought, oh, that's kind of hey, cool. I'm attracting things I want, not the weird stuff out there. But last week, one of the quotes that came out of there that blew my mind: people that go to war the most are the people who love the most. Yeah. That didn't come out of me. That came out of the time when it was smarter than you.
Yes, that's exactly right.
And it's like, wow. I mean, the only one I might bring up right now is, once you get a taste of freedom that God wants to give you, you want everybody in.
That's right. That's
Me
right.
Too. Me too.
Because the fake stuff is that's not what you want. There is a real thing. There is a life more abundantly. All of that stuff is real, and you cannot get it for yourself. That has to come through partnership with God. And I mean, going back to what I said in the story you told, look at the emotion that it took, the things that happened to get you to the emotional place to really extract
Yes, yes,
from God.
yes.
And actually, I went to a worship conference this weekend. Actually, it was for creatives, all kind of Christian creatives, whether they write or dance or make film. We all come together, and it was online this year. But the lady talked about worship, and she talked about, oh, one of my favorite Bible verses, Psalm 37:4, delight thyself in the Lord, and he'll give you the desires of your heart. That word delight is almost like demand. It's like really coming to the place of like not just like asking God passively. And like you said, a great mentor, not a good mentor. It's when you get serious. It's when you're serious about it. Like my another part of my story is so after I was divorced, the biggest thing for me was to not move back in with my parents. That actually was my vision. And that vision worked as well
And
as if
that's a
you've
very
ever
healthy one too, by the way.
listen,
Yeah.
well, here's the thing. If you've ever said, I don't want to eat so much candy, that's
Yes.
pretty much how that vision worked. Because like you end up eating 10 times more candy, right? When you say, I don't want to eat candy, because your mind doesn't work to process not. You subconsciously cannot process not.
Mhm.
So all you're thinking is candy, 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 candy. It took like 3 or 4 years, but I ended up back at my parents' place because I didn't have a compelling vision I was excited about, more emotional than the fact that I didn't want to move there.
Mm,
It's a real thing. You got to get
That's
out of that. If you have a negative vision like that, you really have to work to figure out what is on the other end of that spectrum and what you
yeah.
actually want to move toward and get it that specific and that passionate.
Well, let's you know what? I'm just being called work.
Go for
What does this work look like? Okay, I want to work. I'm not, this is the average everybody. I want to work. What work do I do? And that's a great place, I think, because I know you and I are, without having a conversation prior, we got a lot of the same vocabulary going here.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the thing is that I've learned you don't want to figure that out yourself. You want, I mean,
Ooh.
you can look
Pray
at
tell. This
you
is
can
good.
look at your giftings, you know what I mean? And you can try to figure it out, but it's like go to God. You know what I mean? Find out what you're made for. Look at the manufacturer's instructions. One of the first little quotes that I wrote, I have a blog of little quotes that I've made when I realized that this wisdom was coming out that I didn't create. And I think the very first one was, you can use a can opener as a hammer, but it's not a good hammer.
No, no.
Other way around, you can use a hammer as a can opener, but it's not a good can opener. If you don't know what you're made for, you might be really trying to fit a round, peg into a square hole. And it really it won't work as well as finding out what it is that you're built for, which
How many
comes
times
through
does your
your
heart
desire.
break when you ask a child, a teenager, oh, so what are you going to be when you grow up? Well, my parents want me to be a,
Oh my gosh, I've heard that so much.
and to me
That's
too.
really
I'm supposed to
interesting.
be an engineer. It's funny because I'm here. I'm studying to be an engineer, and I end up paying for school cutting grass. Yeah, I was debt free.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a lot of lawns. Okay, and
That
then
is a lot of
later
lawns.
when my engineering ran out, I was cleaning, making more money cleaning carpets than I was, than I was as an engineer.
Yeah, you just went back. You now started cleaning the inside of the house.
Well, we're not going to move the camera around this place. We're not
Not your house, other people's houses. Oh my goodness. I mean, that was the thing though, is how I actually left my mom's place was I had to get to an equal point of desperation, like what you're talking about. And I said, God, okay, I have no plan. I don't really think I have the skill. I don't know. I don't feel like I have the wherewithal to get out of here and to successfully have my own place. Because those 4 years before I moved to her house,
Mhm.
I wasn't paying bills on time. Like we weren't successful in our attempts to
and,
have our own
and you
place.
would think bounce checks would be motivation, but it's not.
It interestingly,
It's only pain. That's like,
it
I'm good at pain.
I also was quite good at pain. I was
I'm sorry.
quite good
I
at
was
picking.
talking about myself. You too?
Yeah, no, I wish I had a lower threshold. I really do, because eventually that thing would have gotten to me.
Your
It
hands
took
cooking
three
on the
years.
stove and you're just whistling around.
It took 3 years of being in this place I said I never wanted to be to actually get me to that point. And
Right,
and
right.
and and real helpful is I started seeing something in my daughter's eyes. I have two children. They're older teenagers now. They were like just getting into the teens then, and um, I just saw disappointment in her eyes that I'd never seen, and it was, like at me,
Mm,
like, I don't think we're supposed to be here, Mom. Like, you don't really seem like you have the motivation, the oomph to get out. And later she told me that's how she felt. I saw it in her eyes, and I started putting some things together, and I just like got to this place of desperation, and I prayed and I said, God, I feel like if I don't move out of here, my children aren't going to believe in you in a few years, and I'll be responsible for that because I've
mm,
taught them something all this time growing up that isn't manifesting. It's not happening. And they're seeing it happen around them. Their friends are living, they're seeing things happen to their friends at church and families at church, and it's not happening for us. And
right.
I think that they're going to believe, yeah, there may be a God, but I don't know if he's for me. And I'm going to take that personal if that happens. Right. And so what I did was I said, okay, I'm making an assessment of all of my skills, my history, my everything. I can't figure this out. I have no idea what to do. I just believe you didn't make junk, but you're gonna have to figure this out, and you're gonna have to like put the dots real close together, because I'm not figuring this out. And I said, and if they don't believe in you, like at this point, I'm putting that back on you,
Mm.
because at this time I'm willing to do whatever you say right now.
Broken,
Broke.
broken. Oh yeah, yeah.
Broke. And knew
I
you were broke, as opposed to thinking you're sick and tired and you're not really yet. I was finally.
yeah, broken. And by the way, everything we're discussing isn't that beautiful book I showed in the beginning. Tim Phillips,
Yay.
The Gold Getter, story teaches you how to become one.
Can we
And
get
the
it
word,
on Amazon or your website? What's the best way?
I guess my website would be the easiest because the second book, the actual workshop portion of it will be coming out this week. It's like there are some here. I'm writing a book on goal setting, and I'm having trouble getting this book out.
Oh my goodness. Well,
but
I'll be
but
keeping
it,
you
but
accountable now that you're telling me that. But what's the website?
the website is, forgive me for looking it up. It's going to change in about 3-4 months, and we're deciding on a name. But in the meantime, it is.
You did say that was the best place, right? I
Right.
was listening. Yeah.
Yes. Motivated jogger.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I actually, I'm
I think you
sorry, I
should
didn't
have it. I think you
remember
should
that,
have it in
because
my
I went a
email.
couple times and I really liked it too. Motivated jogger.
Yeah, motivated jogger dot wix wixsite wixsite.com/workshop.
And that's where they can find that.
Hmm?
Awesome.
And if you call me,
Yeah, right.
uh,
Or hit him up on
oh yeah,
Facebook.
if you yeah, on that website, all my contact stuff's in there, and things are moving fast right
Can
now.
you remind me the uh what came behind that title, Motivated Jogger?
That's why it's got to change. So it was a college joke. I mean, I can
Oh,
leave it at that. It was a college
okay.
joke,
How are
and
you gonna make your website an inside joke? I tell you.
that was the working one. Remember, 4 years ago, I didn't write a one sentence. I didn't have
Mm,
anything but an idea. Yeah,
amazing.
I didn't have an idea, and that's a fun story. Maybe I'll share it at the end here. But I want to get back to the God's vision, if that's okay.
Yeah.
God, and we talked about we got to the point where we were broken. But you can actually do God's will without being broken. Yeah, and I know you do.
Yes.
Yeah,
We recommend that. We highly recommend that. Tell
but
us
not as
more.
but you don't get as many stories at the end of the journey. It's like someone I want to be debt free. Why? You'd get no mail. I mean, you'd be so boring. You forget what
You
day
don't
it
like
is.
those people calling you?
Well, I'm debt free now, which is the first time in a very long time. Yeah. Take a bow, and I'm not afraid to answer my phone anymore. It's the weirdest
It's a
thing.
beautiful thing.
It's okay. So let's get that in the workshop book that's coming out here. It's addressed in this one here. The story of quite nicely actually is something called a foundation of thoughts. And you got to help me. You got to help me out with the Bible verse. My mind's kind of blank. What's in your heart? There's two Bible verses specifically that I'm thinking of. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
I'm thinking like death and life are in the power of the tongue. That's not it.
Well, that's good, but yeah.
Guard your heart with all diligence. No.
Sorry, if I think of it, I'll remind yourself. There's two.
Yeah, we can
verses.
you can put it in the comments.
Renew your mind. It will be an example.
Yeah.
And what's in your heart will come out. And I said, I should be more prepared.
He'll put it in the comments. He'll put it in the comments.
Anyway, and that's really the mechanism to do God's will is there. That's it. We just said it. Once again, we can end the interview. It's getting down to the only thing that we were given control. The one thing that Satan hates us so much for is the power of our thoughts.
Right.
And in fact, this is last week. This is in my mind where you were talking. It's like who was given the kingdom? Us. Who given authority over everything is us. And the only way that you, I, and Job can get rid of it is by confessing it away from us. Right. I can't do it. My mom wants me to be, this career path. I just released it. So the power of the tongue. So how do we get it into day to day? If I had a chart, it'd be fantastic. Because I read a flow chart for those C people, the people who like process. And then you and I love this conversation. So long car ride. Right. So I'm going to talk a little slow here. So whatever you think about will manifest. Before, when I was 13, you remember I mentioned I told it was empty. Well, I was breaking into houses when I was 13. Well, that didn't happen when I woke up. That happened probably 2-3 years ago, before I started acting on those thoughts, which became action. And after 3 or 4 months, it became so much habit. I would know when someone left the building.
Wow.
Don't worry. I got arrested, and my mom corrected that. They corrected that very, very quickly because obviously I'm still an amateur compared to professionals. Don't break the law. But it set up the precedent of how to reverse engineer that. Well, I'm going to be building a cleaning company in 1 year, and I'm going to have 3 major clients. So all I kept doing is repeating that over and over through 40, 50 affirmation cards, various things. What am I afraid of today? Talking to Felicity. I am excited to. The world becomes a better place when Felicity and I get together. And this program in my head, I'll tell the future in advance. But everything I want to do is try to release in what I'm putting in my head. All I'm doing is thinking. And the easiest, am I losing you? I hope not.
Oh, it comes back. Just
Are
wait.
You there?
It'll come back.
Okay. That scared me. We'll use my smoking, where I deliver this process. You don't go through hell with your hand in heaven without habit. You roll around the theater floor, you pick up something. And I was a smoker. In fact, I was a 2 to 3 pack a day smoker.
Wow.
You and I are hyper. I don't know if you did, but I was, and I quit in 2009. And up until then, I'm like, gosh darn it, I got to quit smoking. We had a child coming on board, that year. And I was a leader at the church, and I'd run behind and hide and smoke. And then I read something in Genesis on the thou shalt have no God before me. Boom, Holy Spirit spoke to me. What is your God?
Wow.
My smoking.
Mm-hmm.
God, I will talk to you shortly, but I got to take care of this first. And I got a whole sermon on what I just said there. And so, it's a beautiful sermon. I love to share with you. But what ended up happening was, program the mind. Every time I lit up a cigarette, I am smoke free, and I'll be doing this with the money. And this is how I'm going to be. I will be able to talk to Felicity or your friends without any guilt. I won't be thinking about all this positive stuff here. Now you think it might be counterproductive since I'm lighting a cigarette, but it gave me a chance to 40 times a day minimum to visualize that pleasantly. God doesn't work with guilt, and neither will I.
No.
I won't work until I'm not going to guilt trip you. No, we have a God here, and he's got to go. And in his name, if these thoughts, and it came up to the day where I quit for 3 days. I quit on a Friday, April 4th, 2009. I think it's written down. And Friday, no big deal. You and I can, like you said, I can live on my own. I'll bounce a check, but no big deal. It's only pain. Saturday, a little edgy. With the church Sunday, I hate everybody. I needed a cigarette. And I got home and I went to the shower and seriously, in tears in my eyes, God, I need you. Where are you?
Mm.
He spoke. He spoke. What makes you think I left you?
Mm.
Now, this is important. I walked out of the shower not wanting a cigarette ever before. And again, so I was really delivered. I gave God the foundation of thoughts, and by the way, I was terrified. Oh, I'm not smoking. My friends, all of them smoke. We don't get non-smokers. You got to find smokers because in case I run out of cigarettes, I can bump something.
Wow, yeah.
And so, but that was why did I say, where are you? I can point to the Bible where God's with you always. I can point to the Bible where his hands were over Job, and I couldn't point to my own heart that God was there.
Wow.
Why? And the answer is, from what I can come up with, is my dad was absent, and I took a number of his characteristics and I projected him to God the Father, which I believe is a very natural thing to do. So whatever sins my dad had, I gave to him and shamed me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was
it actually reminded me too of the Garden of Eden, because that's what Adam said, or wait, no, God said, where are you?
Yeah, but what Adam blamed him for the, you could have took 2 ribs. I mean, what? No. What's up with this?
I'm glad I thought that then. That was funny.
Sorry.
That's really powerful though. And we really, you can use the negative thoughts as a way of helping you to frame.
As long as you're not shame or guilt and just a realization,
no.
I have a problem.
Right.
I'm a smoker. I'm hiding. Duh, I got a problem. I'm addicted.
Right.
I'm addicted. Right. Done deal.
But see, you have a way of saying that, but yet I noticed that when people identify very strongly, like, I'm just a smoker, it's just what it is. Well, maybe then they're their own God or something.
Yeah.
But you have to come to a place of separating, like, that's not what God made me to be. I'm not satisfied with that. I'm going to keep saying this. Even as I'm lighting up, I believe I have a different future. You have to begin to separate from that identity.
For those people, you will need a motivation. AA covers that. I only got it. And like you living with your family, I mean, you got broke. I was broken too when God spoke to me. And my motivation was, I want to be a leader of my family. How can I be if I'm hiding? I mean, it was so loud in my. It's only I could hide. I could hide all my other sins. But this one, God wanted me to really. We're done hiding, Tim. I love you, Tim. This is an addiction and it controls you, but we're not going to hide anymore. If you want to smoke, knock yourself out. There's rewards and benefits to the life you chose. That's my way of being sarcastic there a little bit.
Right.
But there's also rewards and benefits for the path I gave you. Felicity, I'm talking to you 10 years later, 2009, and I could tell this story. I can't tell the ones that failed at, but I can tell this one.
And all of his rewards and benefits are better than whatever like Dr. Phil will say, well, what are you getting from that? You say, well, what do you mean? What am I getting? It's not a sarcastic question. You are getting something.
Yeah.
When we, a lot of what you described in the beginning was real codependency, right? And so what were you getting from that codependency? That reward was thinking that you were pleasing someone, thinking you were telling them what, I only know because I did it too. I used to be a chronic liar because I would tell people what I thought they wanted to hear and that kind of thing. And that was my reward, but it is so much less than the real rewards God has for us. When you say the rewards, they don't really sound like rewards because they're really not. Like they're just what we're settling for, right?
Yeah.
And life has like real actual rewards and benefits and things where you're like, this is better than I thought, like Ephesians, better than you can think, dream, or imagine. Life has that for you. And I love
and over and over again.
And that's where the warrior spirit comes in. It's like, I want you to join me. You know, I'm not like trying to be crazy, but it's like, it is very exciting to live, you know, the life that
Of
God
abundance. Yeah.
placed in your heart. It's like, and you know what? And now I can be so excited to hold space for you, Tim. So I am seeing you speaking at TED Talks and audiences of 3,000. I mean, that is fun to do for other people as well, you know? And so
Yeah.
you can see me in a studio, not in my closet, doing my talk show with awesome guests like you.
Yeah,
And
you
just
bet. You,
like,
yeah. I can't call it. We won't go to Hollywood. But when you're in
yeah, right.
Arizona, when you're in Arizona, the other broadcast city,
We'll just say a studio,
a
because
real
the studio doesn't matter. It's where it broadcasts out to,
yes,
and it's the
yeah.
fact that it reaches the ears that it needs to. And that's why I love bringing on beautiful spirits like yourself, Tim. Thank you so much for your time and working through your nerves or whatever, because you rocked it. And
I was
like,
praying before
people
then. Yeah,
needed to see, and to hear your story. So
yeah.
motivatedjogger.wixsite.com/workshops, and see what Tim is up to. Follow him on Facebook, because he has some gems out there. So I appreciate you, man. High five.
God bless.
Bless you too. Thanks, you guys, for joining us.